Hello, I just want to show you one idea that I'm having when I was playing with the a6300. Like with the a6000 before, I was quite happy with the camera itself, but not with the battery power. And I at some point wanted to buy a grip, but I was kind of upset by it because they only provide you a little bit more power and not really that much power. While we have these USB blocks, like this one for example, that gives us 15,000 milliamps of power. And that's kind of cool. Now, more and more devices, like these Lume Cubes for example, and even, which I know a lot of you are interested in, devices like the micro HDMI to headphone converters, but also things like the camera itself now can be powered by USB. Another thing is most audio devices allow that to do that. So wouldn't it be cool? That's cool in itself, right? So let me first, wouldn't it be nice if you could do that in a much smaller way, that you have one battery that's feeding a lot of your devices. Now the first thing I want to show you is sort of like an intro, is this small box, which it looks like a USB hub, and in a way it is, but it's specially made for power. So you can just hook it up to a normal power, like you would, or your, so you could do this on your tripod, right? Just glue it or gaffer it on your tripod, put power in. Now the nice thing about this, it is 5 times 2 amps power. So it's also built for that, so that's good. That means that you can feed most of your devices on your small video setup, like your light, your audio, the camera itself, from this small box, without having all these big or small different adapters. This is also very nice to have in your bag. As you can see, it's I would say a little bit smaller than a small Apple TV these days, but I would say 3 times bigger than a charger for your iPad. But the nice thing, you only have to have one, so one connection when you're in the hotel. So it's also a very nice device. It costs about 30 bucks. The brand is very local to me. It's like 5 kilometers from my house. And I've been trying to talk to them about my next idea, because what I really want is that you can do this in the camera. So wouldn't it be nice if you would have a grip for your a6000 or your a6300 or your a7, especially the ones which can now be powered with micro USB, that you would have a grip with not 2 batteries in, because that takes a lot of space and it doesn't really give you much power. But I'm guessing that you can get about this amount of power into such a grip. To test that, I got 2 smaller batteries of the same brand, and they have 2 connections, so 2 USB outputs on each of them. They are 6,000 milliamps, so total 12,000, and I made it into a, let's say, do-it-yourself sort of solution for a rig or a grip. Mostly to prove A, that it works, and B, that it fits actually in a grip of an a6300. And my question to you guys is on Facebook and on YouTube, please comment and say if this makes sense, because both to use as a normal grip for photography mode, right, having one chargeable block under your a6300, which lasts at least 8 or 9 times longer than a battery internally, and for video, where you can probably do quite a lot of stuff for quite a long time. I think it's nice. So I made a small rig. I'm recording this with the a6300, so I'm using an a6000. So one of the connections is fake. But let me show you, it looks a little bit weird, but I hope you see where I'm going with this. So I made a small rig. Let me get it. And here it is. Hopefully you can see it, and I'm in the picture. I'm not recording using an Atomos or something because, well, I'm lazy, and like I said, I'm not a professional reviewer. I'm just doing this for fun. But you can see that at the bottom I actually glued together 2 of these batteries. Now, of course, if this would really be built, these connectors would not be there. This can be a lot smaller. The same on the other side. The connectors should not be there because I flipped the batteries, right? So there's now 2 batteries here, 2 batteries there. But they are feeding all the devices on my camera. So you can see that this camera is charging because it's a6300, but normally it will be powered on the a6300, right? So this one is powered. Now the 2 lights can be powered. They are really powerful. They're about 1500 lumens and they are from a company called LumenCube. I will make a special video about that one. But you can see I can turn them on and they are now being fed from one of the batteries. The third device, or is my audio device, or the fourth device, 1, 2, 3, 4, is a Rodelink wireless receiver. And yeah, this is what I want. But basically you want, as you can see, the grip is, I wouldn't say perfect, but you can see how it would quite easily fit into a normal size grip that you can get for your a6000 or your a6300. It can be designed, of course, a little bit different because you don't need all, there's now 2 of them, so that saves space. You don't need the connectors and you don't need these connectors. In my opinion, they should just make it with 4 of them hooked up. The nice thing about these LumenCubes is you can also, because they're now of course giving a lot of light. So let me turn them off. You can control them from your iPhone, which is nice. And you can have multiple also in the room like this. And in total you can then have like 3000, well, 6000 lumens of power, of light. But this is what I kind of want you to comment on. Does this make sense? And of course it will not look like this, but it shows that it's possible. And I'll also show you the side that it does not really stick out that much compared to a normal grip. It's a little bit thicker, but again, of course the a6300 is also a little bit thicker, but you can see it's not a problem to do this, right? And you have quite a lot of stuff. And the nice thing about it, if it runs out of power, any of these devices, it will in fact keep working. You have time to either switch to this box, right? Or to start feeding these with these power plugs, right? So that this one is being charged and this one is charging this one. But since all of these devices have their internal battery still intact, if for some reason the power goes out, these will start running on their internal power. So, which is nice for the portable solution, but especially nice for this solution. So if somebody pulls your wire, or you need to get going or whatever, you can just take them out and all the stuff will keep running because, well, we didn't remove the internal batteries. And I personally think removing the battery from this one is also, to make it work for the grip, it's also, I think, a bad idea because then it will be much more difficult to make different ones for different cameras. And because I can see how they could make this almost the same for lots of cameras and just use rubber to sort of make it fit for each of them. Because you can feed it like this. There's probably a nice way of doing it. I know that some of the grips also have been making these really small cables like this, right? So yeah, this was my idea, and I just want to others to comment on if I'm crazy or this might actually be a nice idea to for somebody to make. These I will really, of course I won't use it like this because it's just me testing something, but I will use them, which is also quite nice, just again to Velcro one of each of them to a pole, a leg of my tripod, or even to a small tie wrap, because then if you put them on your tripod, you can feed also 4 devices the same way I'm showing you now when you're filming. And I think this is a nice solution, and again, hopefully people will comment on it. It's not for me about the number of views, because really I don't care that much. I'm just doing this for fun. But I want you to comment simply because I want people to tell me if this is a stupid idea. Because I plan to talk to this brand and say, hey, is this something you're willing to make? And if lots of people say, well, having a grip for video instead of photography is a very good idea, then one of them might be able to do it. And you can imagine, for example, if these connectors are all gone and you would have small micro USB or some other solution here, that normally you would just use it for filming. You would power one from here, and you have 2 extra holes or 3 extra holes, because you now have 4. Just with micro USB to power the other devices. Of course you could use a small rig that some of you are using, but I hope you can see that this might be a useful sort of quest to go after. So thank you for watching, and yeah, looking forward to your comments.